I chased Lu Jinyan for 7 years. After his 108th broken promise, I finally decided to give up on him. I devoted myself to serving the country, vanishing completely from his world. Then he lost his mind, turning heaven and earth upside down. Luo, come back to me, please. But this time, there would be no answer. Luo, are you absolutely certain? The Spark project requires a minimum 3-year commitment, potentially decades, with zero outside contact. I nodded firmly, with no family ties. Serving our nation is my greatest honor. I actually have a fiancé, but that doesn't matter anymore. The two review officers exchanged glances, their professional resolve wavering with sympathy. What if you can never leave that facility for the rest of your life? Would that be acceptable? To them, I'm just too young, so young, like a budding flower, barely unfurled, with no time to fully bloom and bask in the prosperity and blessings of this era. At 21. While others' children are still enjoying their parents' care, I unhesitatingly dedicated myself to the nation. I smiled, my resolve unwavering. If our ancestors could do it, so can I. For an era of peace and prosperity, some must always bear the burden. The two review officers had tears in their eyes as they shook my hand. Comradely, welcome to the Spark program. After signing the NDA, they left me $1 million as relocation funds, agreeing to collect me in a month. Truth be told, severing ties with this world wouldn't take a full month. Where are you? I was a little disoriented when I got Lu Jinyan's call. How long has it been since we last spoke? I've already lost track. The Lu family never liked me. This arranged marriage exists only because they owe the Li family 2 lives. My parents leveraged their life-saving favor to pressure the Lu family into taking responsibility for my future. Coming from an elite military lineage with generations of prestige, the Lus naturally look down on someone like me, but bound by honor, they can't unilaterally break off this engagement. All these years of avoiding me, it was just to make me give up, wasn't it? I sent my WeChat location, come out, just 2 words, then the call ended. Lu Jinyan wouldn't contact me without a reason. Flipping through my notebook, I realized it's Mother Lu's birthday today. I grabbed the pre-prepared gift from my dorm and walked out of the school gate. Lu Jinyan's car had already arrived. In late autumn, the maple leaves blazed crimson. Leaning casually against the Humvee door, he wore a dark uniform. Years of military service had etched an austere discipline into his bearing. A maple leaf drifted onto his shoulder. As he tilted his head upward, the razor-sharp line of his jaw pierced my vision. I stood there frozen. My mind went blank for an uncontrollable moment. Instinctively touching my chest, I gave myself a faint smile. It's okay. Time heals all wounds, even this infatuation I have for him. He seemed to sense something, looking my way, his brow furrowing slightly in displeasure. Get in the car. His voice was devoid of warmth, like the late autumn wind. He hated it when I looked at him with adoration. Not even a fleeting glance was allowed. Composing myself, I settled into the back seat, discreetly avoiding any further glances his way. His hand, gripping the front door handle, paused, then released, and he walked around to the driver's side. The whole way, I simply enjoyed the late autumn scenery, no longer forcing conversation just to maintain a superficial harmony with him, as I used to. Honestly, that was exhausting. Lu Jinyan kept glancing at me in the rearview mirror, and for once, he was the first to speak, delivering takeout. I almost forgot that the Lu family had no idea I was studying at USTC, let alone that I'd entered the Gifted Youth program at 15, MHM. I replied indifferently. He rarely initiates conversation, yet I missed the cue. Lu Jinyan's brows furrowed slightly again. How have you been lately? I was taken aback. Since when did he care about me? Catching his eye in the rearview mirror, his already stern face seemed to harden even more. I could almost feel the tension in his neck. Sensing the cue, I looked away and replied, I'm fine. His tone lightened a bit. The unit's been busy with intensive training these past few months. Was he trying to explain himself? There was really no need. I smiled. I know, in the past, I would have taken the bait and run with it, but today, I didn't say another word, just turned to gaze out the window. Lu Jinyan's brow furrowed again as he kept glancing at me through the rearview mirror, but I couldn't be bothered to care anymore. The last time I contacted him was 3 months ago. It was his birthday, so I went to deliver a cake to him. I didn't really have any ulterior motives. I just wanted to wish him a happy birthday in person. He didn't see me, so I waited outside, all the way until late into the night. I saw him emerge into the night and was about to approach when someone lunged out of nowhere and stabbed me. The blade went deep, blood gushing out in torrents. My mentor Professor Zhao warned me this line of work is perilous, that my life could be targeted anytime. She'd long urged me to join a secure government agency for personal safety, yet I can't walk away. That day, I called him the moment it happened. He was right there. One turn of his head and he'd have seen me, could have saved me, but he didn't answer, just glanced at his phone, pretended not to hear, and shoved it back in his pocket. His car vanished into the neon lights, while I lay bleeding on the pavement. After that, I knew better than to bother him again. Some truths should have been clear long ago, yet unless life hangs in the balance, we cling to foolish hope, refusing to let that flickering light within us die. When I arrived at the Liu residence, their housekeeper had already bought groceries, waiting for me to cook. Without waiting for Liu Jinyan's instructions, I changed shoes, tied on an apron, and headed straight to the kitchen. Liu Jinyan paused in the hall, watching my retreating figure for a long moment. His lips parted slightly, but no words came. Then he turned and went upstairs. "Miss Li, you've worked hard." Nanny Liu looked rather awkward. "Most of the dishes Madame Liu enjoys can only be prepared properly by me." Truth be told, she wasn't nearly this picky before I came to the Liu household. Even with Aunt Liu assisting me, I was so busy that I worked up a sweat. Just as the meal was nearly ready, heavy footsteps echoed on the staircase. I knew exactly who it was without looking. Chi Wei. No, she goes by Liu Wei now, though there was a time she went by Li Wei. Sharing my surname, Liu Wei was an orphan my parents sponsored. After 3 years of their support, she tearfully proposed changing her surname to honor the Li family's kindness. With her surname changed, my parents naturally took her in as their own. Later, after my parents passed, she leveraged their legacy with the Liu family to join me there. Now known as Liu Wei, she's become a true member of the Liu household, and me, the biological daughter of the Liu family's benefactor, was practically treated like half a servant. Over the years, to pay for my tuition and living expenses, I've worked as a nanny and a delivery person, so I didn't really mind being treated like a servant by the Liu family. I just saw it as my way of repaying them for taking me in after my parents passed away. "Sis, let me help you." Liu Wei stood at the kitchen entrance. Her hands, once rough and dark, now looked incredibly fair and soft. It was as if even the kitchen fumes were afraid to tarnish them. She stood there frozen, utterly clueless about where to begin, just like some pampered young miss who'd never lifted a finger in her life. I still remember how she first came to our house, dark-skinned, scrawny, with hair like dried straw piled haphazardly on her head, looking no different from a street beggar. "No need, Aunt Liu, and I can handle it." I turned her down, but she insisted on proving herself, only to break a bowl and cut her hand within 3 minutes. Mrs. Liu happened to come downstairs and saw her hands covered in blood, her heart aching with distress. "Oh dear, we've told you there are people to handle household chores. You don't have to work like you used to." Naturally, it referred to her time with the Li family. She was incredibly capable at the Li household. She eagerly took on every chore from laundry to cooking, leaving our longtime housekeeper with nothing to do, so much so that the poor woman resigned out of sheer awkwardness. My parents repeatedly told her it wasn't necessary, but she'd just blink those teary eyes and insist she wanted to repay the Li family's kindness. My parents couldn't bring themselves to argue further, so they let her have her way, but whether it was intentional or not, whenever she did chores, she'd always manage to break my cherished treasures and favorite toys. I'd cry and throw tantrums, and she'd just cower in a corner, looking so wronged and pitiful, with tears welling up in her eyes. My kind parents could never bring themselves to scold her after that. Later, when she joined the Liu family, they heard that she had taken on all the household chores at the Li family's home from such a young age, and the Li family had even comfortably dismissed their part-time cleaner. She was so sensible and hardworking, yet I, her arrogant and overbearing older sister, would still find fault and make things difficult for her from time to time. At that moment, Mrs. Liu felt such a pang of sympathy that she wished she could adopt her on the spot. Her slander made me sob with rage, but no matter how I tried to explain, Liu Wei's bony, calloused hands were right there, while my own skin was flawless. Hardly the hands of someone who'd endured hardship. Of course no one believed me. Eventually, I stopped caring. They were strangers, and thank goodness for that. "Stay out of the kitchen. Hands like yours are meant for writing papers and conducting research. Don't let a place like this taint them." Mrs. Liu gave a meaningful glance towards the kitchen, then pulled Liu Wei upstairs to bandage her wound. Aunt Liu couldn't help but roll her eyes. I've seen good actors, but never one this good. I just smiled and said nothing. Dinner was ready just as Mr. Liu returned home. As I carried dish after dish to the table, faint beads of sweat dampened my temples. When I raised my hand to wipe them, a blue handkerchief appeared before me. It was Liu Jinyan. I declined. "No, thank you," turned around and casually wiped with a tissue. Liu Jinyan's hand holding the handkerchief paused for a long moment before tucking it back into his pocket. As the dishes were served, The Lu family took their seats one by one while I stood by ladling soup for Mrs. Li Luo. Come sit down and eat with us, Mr. Lu gestured for me to join them. I glanced at Mrs. Lu. She didn't say anything, so I took a seat. I pulled out the birthday gift I'd prepared for Mrs. Lu from my pocket. It's nothing fancy, but it took me 2 months' wages to get this. Happy birthday, Auntie. Mrs. Lu responded indifferently, couldn't even spare me a word. She took the gift and carelessly set it aside. Lu Wei also presented a carefully chosen birthday gift. It was a Patek Philippe wristwatch. Even without knowing much about luxury goods, I could tell this brand easily costs hundreds of thousands, but the Lu family provided Lu Wei with a generous allowance. She could certainly afford it. When Mother Lu saw the watch, her eyes and brows were filled with smiles. Our Wei Wei is truly filial. I remained silent, the food in my mouth tasting like sawdust. Old Lu, please pay more attention to Wei Wei's matters. During dinner, Lu's mother didn't forget to arrange a future for Lu Wei. Wei Wei wants to pursue her postgraduate studies under Han Tan. Today, Jin Yan went to USTC to see Han Tan, but he actually made excuses, saying his junior sister was joining a confidential unit and was currently under review, so it wasn't convenient to receive visitors. Didn't you know his mentor, Zhao Lan, before? Go talk to him. Don't let Wei Wei's talent go to waste. Lu's father casually grunted in acknowledgement. Only then did I understand why Lu Jinyan was at USTC. He was there to pull strings for Lu Wei. I couldn't help glancing at Lu Jinyan, only to find him staring right back at me. I quickly averted my gaze and buried myself in my meal, but Lu Jinyan's piercing eyes remained fixed on me, their intensity burning into my cheeks like a branding iron. Suddenly, I'd lost all appetite for this meal. I wanted to escape, but Mrs. Lu wouldn't let me off the hook. Luo, you're graduating soon. Wei Wei is destined to become a scientist and serve our country, but you, with your poor grades and no hope for grad school, what are your plans? I set down my chopsticks and dabbed my lips with a napkin. I've already secured a job, starting next month. Mrs. Lu's disdain nearly splattered across my face, but she ultimately maintained her aristocratic composure. Just 3 words, and I was dismissed so lightly. I knew they were trying to prevent me from using the Lu family's connections to pull strings and land myself a good job. After dinner, I helped Aunt Lu wash the dishes and wipe the table, tidying everything up before getting ready to head back to school. Sis, are you heading back now? Lu Wei came downstairs, freshly showered and dressed in a beautiful nightgown. I responded with a noncommittal grunt. Then go tell your aunt and uncle. They're in the study upstairs, leaning against the railing. Lu Wei smiled slyly, clearly up to something again. I was just going to say hello anyway, couldn't be bothered with her twisted little schemes. The study door was ajar, and I heard Mrs. Lu's voice the moment I approached. That Luo Li is graduating soon. You don't think she'll force a marriage right after graduation, do you? I don't care. There's no way Jin Yan's marrying her. How could our Lu family possibly accept someone so shamelessly ambitious, a woman who thinks marrying up is her only path to success? Mother Lu's voice trembled with barely suppressed tears. Father Lu kept smoking in silence. My raised hand to knock fell back to my side. Turning around, I nearly collided with someone's chest. Lu Jinyan was staring straight at me. No doubt he'd heard every word, yet his stern face betrayed no extra emotion. With a detached smile, I said, I shouldn't intrude. Please let your parents know I'm heading back to campus. I turned and went downstairs, only to find Lu Wei still leaning against the same spot, her smile even more pronounced. I ignored her and walked straight past. Lu Jinyan followed me down. Let me walk you out. He was about to say something else when Aunt Lu, the housekeeper, happened to fish a velvet box out of the trash bin while cleaning. That was the birthday gift I gave to Lu's mother, 2 months' worth of my salary. Seeing this, Lu Jinyan swallowed the words on the tip of his tongue. Honestly, I'm not upset at all. Really, I've grown accustomed to it over the years. Right now I'm just thinking about how to spend that million I just got. Senior Han Tan suggested I take a trip. Since it's rare to have such a long vacation, I don't have any particular destination in mind, but I've made myself a checklist. Visiting an amusement park. I haven't been since my parents passed away. The Lu family often takes Lu Wei. While I always seem to be conveniently forgotten, to try every snack joint in the university town. That was my grand ambition back when I delivered food around there. But I was broke then, so I could only watch others enjoy their fast food, silently drooling. I filled an entire page with this list. In the end, I realized they were all just trivial, insignificant things. I guess I'm just a person of small aspirations and simple joys. That day, as I passed by a bridal shop and saw those gorgeous Pristine gowns. A sudden urge came over me to do something special. I walked into the shop and asked the staff, "Could you help me take a set of bridal photos?" "Absolutely, right this way." Just a moment. I dashed out of the bridal shop and headed straight for the jewelry store. I picked out a wedding ring for myself, a simple yet timeless design, though it was part of a matching set. "Can I just buy one?" The saleswoman gave me a puzzled look. But her good upbringing kept her from saying anything more. "Yes, but it will cost a bit more." This ring set me back 30,000 yuan. This is the most extravagant thing I've done in my 21 years of life. This might be my only chance to wear a wedding ring in my entire life, so why not splurge a little? As I stepped out of the bridal shop, I couldn't shake the feeling someone was following me. I turned around, but saw no one there. Ever since that stabbing incident when I was being followed, I've been haunted by this paranoia. Shaking my head, I walked back into the bridal shop. The wedding photos cost 2,800, but with the designer's meticulous styling, they turned out beautifully. Even I can feel the happiness and joy radiating from these pictures. It's quite lovely to bid farewell to love in this manner. Little did I know, Mr. and Mrs. Lu lost a night's sleep over these wedding photos. "Uncle, Auntie, come quick and look at this." Lu Wei rushed into the Lu family residence, finding both Mr. and Mrs. Lu at home that day. She showed everyone the wedding dress photos she'd secretly taken. "Is brother Jinyan marrying sister? I just saw sister trying on wedding dresses. Who said Jinyan was going to marry her? Dream on." Mother Lu was absolutely furious. Lu Wei looked surprised, but inwardly, she was thrilled. Father Lu finally started to get anxious. Just then, Lu Jinyan returned from outside and his eyes narrowed slightly when he saw the photo. "Send it to me," he said in a cold voice. Lu Wei feigned innocence, looking pitiful. "So, my sister was just wishful thinking. I'm so sorry, I had no idea." "Brother Jinyan, please don't blame her. My sister was always the pampered one. I suppose she just doesn't want to work hard, dreaming of becoming a wealthy young madam. Can't really blame her." The Lu parents' faces darkened instantly. Mrs. Lu's especially. Lu Jinyan traced the photo on his phone, his expression unreadable. Yet that night, sleep eluded him. A fire seemed to rage in his chest, burning relentlessly, leaving his entire body restless. 3 days later, Lu's mother called, asking me to come home. The moment I stepped in, Aunt Lu gave me a meaningful look, and I returned it with a reassuring smile. I'm not a child anymore. I'm not afraid of her making things difficult for me. "Li Luo, you must be 21 this year." "Right, just a few more days. You're at that age when people start thinking about marriage." She finally couldn't sit still any longer. "Our security guard has a son who just returned from military service. I've met the young man, though he only finished high school. He's quite handsome and seems like a good match for you. Why don't you two meet up sometime?" Blatant mockery and humiliation. I smiled faintly. "All right, back in my dorm." I unearthed the little box I'd treasured for years, filled with all my affection for Lu Jinyan. Lighting the brazier, I reduced them all to ashes, then took out my phone and meticulously deleted every photo of him stored in it. Most of these photos were taken discreetly, often capturing his profile. It's finally time to break free from the past. My mind is slowly clearing, leaving an empty space somewhere, but it doesn't hurt. Time truly does heal all wounds. The next day, I went to Lu Jinyan's workplace to see him. I thought I'd have to wait till nightfall again, but within minutes, he came out personally to meet me. He took me to a garden. He walked ahead while I quietly followed behind. The autumn breeze caressed my ears, yet I felt no chill. In that moment, I found myself surprisingly enjoying the silence. On the garden's stone path, a loose slab, long unfixed, tipped when he stepped on one end, sending the other end up to trip my foot. I instinctively stumbled forward, and in my fluster, ended up embracing him from behind. A sudden wave of heat flushed from his ears to his cheeks. I felt his entire body go rigid, his taut muscles hard as steel plates, making my chest ache from the impact. "Let go." The furious roar carried a chill straight from the depths of hell. I straightened up quickly. "Sorry, that wasn't on purpose." His glare locked onto me, eyes drifting from my face to my chest before snapping away. His expression darkening with visible veins bulging. I wanted to point at the upturned slab, to explain it was the real culprit, but his patience had run out. "Spit it out, now." "Oh, never mind, let them misunderstand. I don't care. No one believes me anyway, so there's no point in wasting my breath on him." "Are you free this weekend? I want to go back to Jiangqing." He stared at me. "That's it, yeah, that's it." He turned and left without giving me an answer. Half an hour later, I got a 2-word text. "Free now." I booked my flight to Riverside City. I usually prefer taking trains, but the ride back would take 5 to 6 hours compared to just 2 by plane. I didn't want to be alone with him for too long, yet even so, he never showed up that day. I waited at the airport for ages. His message finally came through, long after my flight had departed. Divi got rejected by USTC and is devastated. We're taking her out to cheer her up. Can't make it back today, next week. Okay, I'll go to Jiangqing with you then. This was the first time he'd ever sent me such a long message, and this marked his 108th broken promise. The corner of my mouth twitched as I replied, got it. Originally, sending him to Jiangqing was just about making peace before my parents' grave, giving their spirits closure. I turned off my phone and began the solitary journey back home. I brought Mom's favorite flowers and Dad's favorite wine to visit their graves. Today marks their Memorial Day, and also my birthday. I lit birthday candles before their tombstones. Mom, Dad, I'm 21 today. I entered the USTC Young Scholars Program at 15, and now I've landed a great job. I haven't let you down. I'm sorry I didn't bring Lu Jinyan with me. I want you to know I won't be marrying him. But don't worry, without him or the Lu family, I'll only be happier. Made a birthday wish and blew out the candles. I stayed with Mom and Dad until the sun dipped below the horizon. As I walked out of the cemetery, a message popped up on my WeChat Moments. Lu Wei was at it again, right on cue, flaunting her happiness. The 9-picture grid showed beautiful beaches, azure waters, the smiling faces of Lu Wei's parents, and Lu Jinyan's tall, slender silhouette. My heart remained unmoved. I turned off my phone, pulled out the SIM card, and tossed it into the trash. That day, I vanished, disappeared completely from Lu Jinyan's world. 3 days later, the Lu family finally returned home. The moment he got back, Lu Jinyan buried himself in work. He never worried I'd forget our agreement. It was always me chasing after him, never him remembering me first. It wasn't until he looked up from his hectic work that something occurred to him. What's today's date? The 26th. Why? Lu Jinyan checked his phone. Nearly 2 weeks had passed since our scheduled meeting. 2 weeks after I disappeared, he finally remembered to text me. Been busy, forgot, tomorrow, I'm free. The same tone as all those broken promises before. Without a second thought, he pocketed his phone and went back to work. Only after finishing all his work did he realize I hadn't replied to his message this time. He stared at his phone for a few seconds, looking slightly dazed. He slipped the phone into his pocket, only to pull it out 3 minutes later. Still no reply. Finally, he took the initiative to call me. Too bad, no one picked up this time. Lu Jinyan paced back and forth a few times. Back at the Lu family home, for the first time, the family had the rare sight of Lu Jinyan, usually so meticulous he was almost rigid, sitting on the sofa, staring blankly at his phone. Waiting for an important call, Lu's mother asked, her voice laced with worry. Lu Jinyan snapped back to attention, his face still stern and indifferent. No, it's nothing important. Lu's mother, looking puzzled, was about to head upstairs when Lu Jinyan suddenly called out to her, Mom, what's special about the 12th? You know, the day we were in Bali. Lu Mu thought for a moment, but couldn't figure it out. Then Lu Wei suddenly shrieked, the 12th is my sister's birthday. It's all my fault. How could I forget something so important? As she spoke, tears welled up in her eyes. She immediately pulled out her phone, ready to apologize to me. Then that's good. Her phone call went unanswered, and tears began streaming down her face. My sister must hate me now. This is all my fault. Why did I have to go out to clear my head? What's it got to do with you? Mother Lu rolled her eyes impatiently. It's just a birthday. If she wants to throw a tantrum, let her. Lu Jinyan suddenly rose to his feet, glaring at his mother and Lu Wei. Her birthday also marks the death anniversary of Uncle and Aunt Li. Everyone, they can ignore my birthday, but forgetting their savior's Memorial Day entirely. What kind of behavior is that? A rare flicker of guilt crossed Mother Lu's face, just the faintest shadow, nothing more. Lu Jinyan drove aimlessly through the streets. It wasn't until late at night that he finally stopped, staring blankly at the passing cars and crowds. Only then did it dawn on him, after all these years. He'd never known where my school was, my favorite hangouts, or even who my teachers and classmates were. He'd driven Lu Wei to school, malls, cinemas, and amusement parks countless times, yet couldn't recognize the routes I walked daily. Scouring through all his memories, he finally stumbled upon a small diner, the very place where I used to deliver takeout. You mean Luo? That was 3 years ago. The owner gave him a look that clearly said, are you out of your mind coming here now? Lu Jinyan grew even more bewildered. He distinctly remembered picking her up last time when she was still delivering food. Had it really been 3 years? Poor kid, orphaned and working her way through school. Without the school's financial aid, she wouldn't even have had meals. That night during the heavy storm, she was the only one still delivering takeout when she got hit and broke her leg. Never saw her again after that. Wonder how she's been all these years. The shopkeeper sighed while pulling down the metal shutters. Lu Jinyan remained rooted to the spot long after he'd left, utterly motionless. The sky suddenly unleashed a torrential downpour, so heavy it blurred vision and obscured the road ahead. He finally pulled out his phone. "Mom, did you know Luo broke her leg 3 years ago?" "Mrs. Lu snapped impatiently. "How would I know? She doesn't even live with us. Who knows what she's been up to?" Lu Jinyan stopped listening. So not a single person in the Lu family had known. "Then do you know which university she attended?" "I couldn't care less about those diploma mills." A suffocating anger lodged in Lu Jinyan's chest, rendering him speechless. "Old Chen, run a background check for me." For someone of his standing, investigating a citizen should have been routine, unless, none. How can there be none? "Lu, don't you get it? Do I have to spell it out for you? Her file is top secret. Anyone who tries to access it will be in deep trouble." Lu Jinyan's mind exploded. "Brother Jinyan, I finally understand why Professor Han Tan didn't want me. It's all because of my sister. She knows him, and she must have badmouthed me to him out of jealousy." "Wah, Brother Jinyan, my sister is just too much. All I did was work harder and be more ambitious than her. Why can't she just be happy for me?" "Jinyan, get back here now. This isn't over. I swear I'll get to the bottom of this for USTC and all of us." At the Lu residence, Madame Lu snatched the phone and spat venomously. Han Tan's student Su Liangren stood there utterly dumbfounded. Han Tan was swamped, so he'd just been running an errand for his professor. How did things spiral out of control like this? Lu Jinyan arrived just as Han Tan's car pulled up. "So this is the Lu residence." Han Tan's eyes held disbelief, laced with scorn and contempt. "Li Luo works 3 jobs just to get by. I thought the Lu family had fallen into such poverty that they couldn't even cover their savior's daughter's tuition. You must be her fiancé." Han Tan gave Lu Jinyan a thumbs up. "Damn impressive, Mrs. Lu's expression darkened upon hearing Han Tan's sarcastic remark about her son. With tear-stained cheeks, Lu Wei gently tugged at her mother's sleeve. "So my sister does know him after all." Han Tan's gaze sliced through the air like a razor. "So you're the Lu family's adopted daughter, the orphan the Ling sponsored. Never thought you'd be living the high life with them. How laughable. The Lu family ignores their benefactor's daughter while pampering some unrelated adoptee beyond reason. No need." Madame Lu's face darkened. "So this is how Ling Luo slanders our family behind our backs." Han Tan sneered. "Slander? Aren't you overestimating yourself a bit? Isn't it obvious to anyone with eyes? From start to finish, junior sister Li never mentioned a single word about the Lu family. In fact, it wasn't until she left and I needed to deliver something to you that I even knew your family name was Lu. I just got curious and did a little digging to see if I should help her take care of you guys. And the result was," Han Tan didn't finish her sentence, her expression growing even more mocking and disdainful. "However, Mrs. Lu and Lu Wei accurately caught one particular address, junior sister. In that instant, they felt as if they'd been struck by lightning. You call her junior sister Luo? What kind of junior sister is that?" Han Tan sneered coldly, couldn't be bothered with Madame Lu. He took the case Su Liang brought over and opened it. Neat stacks of 1 million yuan inside. This million, half is junior sister Lu's repayment for the Lu family's adoption. The other half is for Nanny Lu's retirement. Mrs. Lu's face went even paler. Han Tan didn't even glance at her, instead looking for Nanny Lu. Nanny Lu, the housekeeper, ran out, watching everything unfold in disbelief. Han Tan stepped forward and warmly clasped her hand. "Thank you for looking after junior sister Li all these years. She mentioned you're getting on in years with rheumatism acting up, so it's time you retired properly. This 500,000 is her way of showing filial respect for your retirement." Aunt Lu's eyes reddened instantly. That child, Madame Lu felt like she was losing her mind. What exactly do you mean? What, junior sister Li? Aren't you a professor at USTC? Didn't Luo attend some diploma mill? Han Tan tossed down the remaining cash and turned to leave with Su Liang. Lu Jinyan blocked his path, eyes sharp as daggers piercing through Han Tan's gaze. "You know where she is, don't you? I need to see her." Han Tan sized him up with a cold laugh. "See her? What makes you think you're worthy?" No mockery, no resentment, just stating the facts. Lu Jinyan knew he no longer even had the right to know where I was, but he refused to give up. Tracking Han Tan to USTC and even locating Professor Zhao, Han Tan's tendency to shield his own was a mentorship legacy. "So you're Xiao Lilua's fiancé. How dare you even show your face here? On your birthday, She worked non-stop in the lab for half a month, without a single full night's sleep. Even then, she still made sure to bake you a cake herself. And what happened? Not only did you not show up, but she waited until late at night, only to be stabbed by someone with ill intentions. You were right there, yet you wouldn't answer your phone. If I hadn't been worried and gone to check on her, finding her just in time, she might have bled to death. Since your Lu family despises her so much, why even bother asking? You should go back and take good care of your ungrateful sister. Our Lilua doesn't care to associate with people like you. Lu Jinyan had been in low spirits for a long time. He kept rereading the WeChat messages I'd sent him, until finally pulling out that wedding dress photo Lu Wei had secretly taken. That day, he went to the jewelry store and found the remaining half of that pair of rings. Sir, you've done us a huge favor. These rings are always sold as a set, but that young lady only wanted one. This leftover piece has been hanging here forever with no takers. A glimmer of hope flashed in Lu Jinyan's eyes as he produced my photo. Is this her? Absolutely. We'll give you a discount if you're taking this ring. Clutching the ring tightly, Lu Jinyan paid the full amount without hesitation. Back at the Lu residence, housekeeper Granny Lu was packing her belongings, having decided to retire that very day. As the month drew to a close, Mr. Lu, do you still need these things? Lu Jinyan looked over. They were all Luo Li's belongings. He glanced at the maid's room again. This was where she stayed during her time with the Lu family. Half question, half statement. Lu Wei hurried downstairs. Brother Jinyan, you're finally back. Auntie found me a new school. If I can't get into USTC, I can still do research elsewhere. She was wearing a pristine white princess dress, her voluminous curly hair looking both stylish and beautiful. Lu Jinyan suddenly remembered that the suite Lu Wei was staying in was 40 square meters and lavishly decorated. Turning to look at the maid's room, he suddenly asked, is there only one bed? Aunt Lu nodded blankly. Yes, when Luo was here, she always insisted on sleeping on the floor to spare my bad back. Caught a terrible chill from it once, ran such a high fever, though I hear her dorm at school is quite nice now, with her own proper bed and thick, warm quilts. Lu Jinyan stopped listening, slumping onto the sofa in defeat. He sat there motionless, utterly silent. Jinyan, perfect timing. Tomorrow you'll take Wei Wei to register at the Military Research Institute. This placement has real prospects. But it's okay. Lu Jinyan looked up, a sudden sense of bewilderment washing over him. Mom, Li Luo is the biological daughter of our family's benefactor. Mother Lu was speechless. For the first time, her son had put her in such an awkward position. Lu Jinyan couldn't stand watching two women weep in front of him, so he left home again within 10 minutes of returning. A man stood at the villa's entrance. Excuse me, is Li Luo here? The visitor was tall and stood ramrod straight. One glance told him this was a military man. What business do you have with her? His eyes brimmed with wariness. The man produced a bouquet from behind his back. 20 days ago, Mrs. Lu asked me to meet Luo Luo for a matchmaking session. I was out of town and only just returned. Lu Jinyan still remembered. 20 days ago was the day I went to see him. But that day, I said nothing at all. My heart suddenly clenched as if seized by an invisible hand. He covered his face with his hands. Am I really that untrustworthy to her, sir? Lu Jinyan looked up, his gaze fixed on the man in front of him. Li Luo is already engaged. Please leave. Lu's mother rushed out, just in time to hear that. Jinyan, have you lost your mind? She's already dedicated herself to the country. She might never come back in this lifetime. Lu Jinyan turned to look at his mother, suddenly feeling utterly helpless. It's okay, I'll wait for her. Those 3 words brought tears to Mother Lu's eyes. Didn't you say you disliked her? What's gotten into you now? When did I ever say I disliked her? Then why? I just don't like how she uses me as a social ladder, how she clings to me for wealth and status, how she's utterly unambitious and pins all her hopes on men, how, the way she looked at me was pure seduction. I'm afraid I might lose control. Lu Jinyan covered his face, unable to continue speaking. I met Lu Jinyan again a decade later. When I went abroad for an academic conference, he was assigned as my security detail. Now in my early 30s. Seeing him again finally leaves me completely unfazed. Time truly heals all wounds, no matter how passionate the love once was. Comrade Lu, your efforts are much appreciated this time. I extended my hand with composure. He stared at me, his eyes turbulent as if a storm raged within. But then, just as quickly, they settled back into calm. He took my hand and said, "The pleasure is all mine." The seminar went smoothly, but on my way back, I was ambushed. Even with all the diversions they created for me, the car I was in still got overturned. Lu Jinyan took 2 bullets for me and was rushed to the hospital. After 10 hours of emergency surgery, the doctors finally pulled him back from the brink of death. The breath I'd been holding in my chest finally escaped. Thank you. His gaze burned into me, intense and unwavering. For you, I'd give everything, even my life. This might be his first confession to me, if you could even call it that. I froze for a heartbeat, then broke into a smile. That's because I'm valuable. If I were just an ordinary housewife, would you still do this? Of course I would. No, you wouldn't. I cut him off firmly. Lu Jinyan stared at me blankly, confused and hurt. I chuckled. You really wouldn't understand. I've been through it. In my past life, I dreamed of being his wife, living quietly, tending to home and family. That was my greatest happiness. Back then, with her family's backing. Lu Wei became a research heavyweight, not reaching my current achievements, but still under state protection. That time, we were ambushed at sea. Lu Jinyan fought desperately to protect her, while I was abandoned without a second thought. They took me hostage, demanding he bring Lu Wei out, but they remained unmoved. In the end, they sliced my flesh piece by piece to feed the fish, and hacked my leg bones to feed the dogs. He never showed up again until the day I died. He managed to escape with Lu Wei. That was his duty. Even if I wanted to resent him, it would seem completely unreasonable. In this life, I've learned my lesson. As long as I don't fall in love, I'll be fine. After returning home, I personally delivered the wedding invitation to him. He accepted it. He said during his recovery, he dreamed every day of me dropping out to marry him, of me washing his clothes and cooking meals while waiting alone till midnight, of the thoughtful gifts I prepared that he never had time to appreciate, of him missing every special occasion, and even of me perishing in the ocean's depths. Tears glistened in his eyes as he spoke, as if searching for some confirmation from me. I just smiled. Come to the wedding if you're free that day. No worries if you can't make it. I'm no longer the girl who'd wait for him, nor do I expect anything from him now. The maple leaves were blazing red that day. This time, it was finally me who walked away first, leaving him standing there. But why? Does my heart still ache? Lu Wei spent a decade at the Military Research Institute without achieving any notable results. With my shining example before her, she eventually succumbed to temptation, plagiarizing colleagues' research to advance her own reputation, even attempting to leverage the Lu family's influence to silence dissent. When exposed, the Lu family was utterly disillusioned and ultimately cut ties with her. I found you an office job. From now on, just go to work diligently and be an ordinary person. There's nothing wrong with that. This was Father Lu's final decision. Mother Lu also felt disgraced by the spread of such a scandal. Li Luo became a nationally protected scientist relying solely on herself, without any support. How many resources did our Lu family invest in you? How many connections did we leverage? How could you be so unaccomplished? That day, Lu Wei got Lu Jinyan drunk right after he received my wedding invitation. Seizing the opportunity, she clung to Lu Jinyan. Brother Jinyan, won't you marry me? I've liked you for so long. The woman who kept saying I didn't want to work hard and just wanted to climb the social ladder through men ended up not wanting to work hard either. Lu Jinyan shoved her away without hesitation. Years of training had built formidable muscle strength. Lu Wei suffered 2 broken bones on the spot. Only then did Mr. and Mrs. Lu finally see their daughter's true colors, yet the Lu family preserved some dignity for her. After recovery, they secured her a job, made her move out, and stripped her of the Lu surname. Lu Wei reverted to being Chi Wei. My husband and I shared 30 years of loving marriage. He worked himself to an early grave, passing before me. We had no children, dedicating our entire lives to scientific research. Over the years, Lu Jinyan sacrificed his own career advancement to protect our life's work. Before he passed, my husband took my hand and finally spoke the words he had kept hidden in his heart for 30 years. Luoli, forgive him, he waited for you his entire life. Beyond the floor-to-ceiling window, Lu Jinyan's hair had turned snow white, yet he stood as straight and proud as in his youth. A maple leaf settled on his shoulder. Another autumn had come. No need. Story 2. I entered a business marriage with the Crown Prince of Beijing's elite circle, but he fell in love with a poor college student, willing to break ties with his family just to be with her. I advised the Crown Prince that he could first marry to gain control of the company and then divorce. Unexpectedly, upon learning this news, the college student left a suicide note and jumped to her death. The Crown Prince grew to despise me intensely for this. After marrying me, he subjected me to daily humiliation until I was ultimately tortured to death in the basement. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day of my engagement with Su Tingshan. I didn't stop him this time, but instead chose to support him. Go bravely pursue your love. Happily holding the female college student's hand, he stepped onto the stage and excitedly announced breaking off our engagement to marry her. In his moment of triumph, he completely failed to notice the way my father and his grandfather were looking at him, their gazes as cold as death. His stepmother laughed so hard she was shaking like a flower in the wind. 1. Today is the day of my business marriage alliance with Su Tingshan, $1 million wedding with a seaside banquet, romantic and beautiful. He's the crown prince of the Beijing elite circle. And I'm the little princess of the same circle. Both families are immensely wealthy with deep connections, a union of titans, and all the top figures in the circle have attended. We had already privately agreed to a 3-year contractual marriage, with divorce upon expiration. Just a moment ago, he bent down gently to adjust my wedding dress, then knelt on one knee to profess his love with deep affection. Xiaoran, you're not just my destined partner, but also my confidant and benefactor in career, no matter what the future holds. I will keep my promise to cherish you forever. I deserve his words. When the Su family was on the brink of collapse during the financial crisis, it was I who showed him the way forward, and my investment that helped them overcome the crisis. For women navigating the business world, love is merely a pastime for us, not a necessity. It's the expansion of our career territories that truly excites and delights us. Yet the next moment, he killed me over a poor female student he'd known for less than 3 years, and swallowed up the business empire I'd built with my own hands. I could overlook him killing me for a woman, but I absolutely cannot forgive him for using dishonorable means to swallow up my conglomerate. You can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. A worthless scum like him isn't even fit to polish my shoes in this lifetime. Must die. Before death, he must repay tenfold for the sins committed in his past life. 2. This time, when Su Tingshan knelt on one knee to confess his love, the impoverished student appeared again in her cheap wedding dress. A rather plain face and a malnourished figure instantly captured Su Tingshan's full attention. Tingshan, I know I'm not beautiful and my family background isn't illustrious, but I have a heart full of love for you. Will you marry me? The impoverished student's eyes were brimming with tears, her makeup smudged. Looking not only unattractive but somewhat ridiculous, the guests below the stage began whispering among themselves. Su Tingshan's eyes instantly turned red, moved to the point of welling up with tears. In my past life, I stopped him because I knew how hard his journey had been, aware that his family included an unfathomably powerful elder brother and a much beloved younger brother, leaving him in an extremely awkward position. That's why I advised him, let's finish the wedding ceremony first. Then I'll go with you afterward to explain, otherwise, you won't be able to justify it to your family. For the sake of power and status, he chose to listen to me, but in the end, he blamed all the responsibility on me. The more incompetent a man is, the more he likes to shift blame. This time I smiled slightly. Go bravely pursue your love, Su Tingshan said emotionally. Xiaoran, thank you. After speaking, he jumped off the stage and embraced the financially struggling student. Sharing a passionate kiss before everyone, the banquet hall divided into 2 distinct groups, one being the still innocent children who cheered and applauded this courageous scene. Then there are the real power-holding bosses like his grandfather and my father, whose faces turned utterly grim. If they had juniors who pulled such outrageous stunts on the day of an arranged marriage, they'd have the urge to beat them to death on the spot, of course. There's also Su Tingshan's stepmother, laughing so wildly without restraint, clearly someone about to reap the benefits. After the passionate kiss, Su Tingshan seemed infected by the fervent atmosphere around them and led the scholarship student onto the stage, holding the microphone and announcing loudly, I now officially declare the cancellation of my wedding with Song Xiaoran, and will hold the wedding with my true love, Zhou Qianqian. After speaking, he knelt on one knee, holding a 6-carat wedding ring, his voice choked with emotion. Qianqian, how could we let a girl do the proposing? Zhou Qianqian, I love you. Will you marry me? I swear I'll never let you suffer or cry again. I'll make sure you never regret today's courage for the rest of your life. The impoverished student couldn't wait to put on the ring, shouting excitedly, I do. Zhou Qianqian agrees to marry Su Tingshan. Then the couple eagerly embraced each other again, sharing a passionate kiss. Su Tingshan's grandfather was so furious he stormed onto the stage with his cane to beat Su Tingshan, cursing, you disgrace, utterly shameless rascal. Dad was so furious he stormed onto the stage to punch him, but I just winked at the guy and casually fingered my $6 million pink diamond necklace. His brow furrowed briefly before relaxing, then he gave me a slight nod. I smiled in satisfaction. Having learned the ropes of business from my father since childhood, I was beyond words. Even if Su Tingshan doesn't call off the engagement, I'll find a way to end it myself. He won't get to profit a single cent by writing on my name, but since he was the one who called off the engagement, it's only natural I should get some benefits. 3. After Su Tingshan and Zhou Qianqian finished their passionate kiss, they signaled the MC to continue the ceremony. All present here are my uncles and elders. Please continue to witness Chanchan and I's wedding ceremony. I paid for half this wedding, and half the guests came because of me. He sure knows how to claim others' credit as his own. I nodded slightly at my father, who immediately roared angrily, Su Tingshan, today is supposed to be your wedding day with my precious daughter. You call off the engagement at the last minute and can't wait to marry another woman. Are you taking advantage of my daughter's gentle nature? Or do you think our Song family has no one to stand up for her? A flash of surprise crossed Su Tingshan's eyes as he realized that while I had agreed, my family certainly hadn't. He immediately turned to me, Zhaoran, you. I casually removed the bothersome veil and threw it on the ground, then bent down to tear the long skirt into a short one. Finally feeling completely relaxed, said with graceful composure, Su Tingshan, pursuing love isn't wrong, but why didn't you pursue it earlier? How much effort has been poured into this wedding by so many people? The uncles, aunts, and elders present here have all taken time out of their busy schedules to attend. How can you be so willful and let everyone down? I wish you and Miss Shou Chanchan a happy union lasting 100 years, with children coming soon. However, the wedding cost 20 million. Please remember to transfer it to my company's account. Su Tingshan quickly nodded. Okay, no problem. The father below added, you need to return the 10% shares our family gave you during the engagement, and terminate the contracts for several projects that were meant to facilitate the marriage. The 2.3 billion villa complex we jointly invested in will count as compensation for my daughter. Altogether it amounts to about 10 small targets, which can be considered sky-high compensation fees. Su Tingshan's face turned pale as he looked at me again. Zhaoran, this is too much. I've given you quite a bit too, shouldn't you return some? Dad snorted coldly. Too much? Is it too much that my daughter was publicly humiliated by you like this? Then in the future, before the warning could be fully spoken, old Master Su immediately agreed, this is only right. My grandson is useless. The original betrothal gifts shall count as compensation for the young lady. She suffered injustice today because I, as his grandfather, failed to teach him properly. This pretty much restored both my dignity and reputation. I can't go too far either. After all, old Master Su has been quite good to me. I smiled faintly. Grandpa, although Tingshan and I weren't meant to be, you'll always be my grandpa. Old Master Su looked at me with complex emotions. Good child. After speaking, he turned and left with trembling steps. His departure took with him some of the Su family's guests. My father held my hand and turned to leave, taking all the guests of our Song family with him. What was once a lively wedding banquet now had more staff than remaining guests, all of whom were his company's employees. Su Tingshan is nothing without me. 4. At the wedding banquet entrance, my father and I invited all our Song family's guests and VIPs to dine at the private kitchen across the street. At the dinner table, I toasted each guest one by one, offering apologies and presenting them with expensive gifts. Everyone left with smiles on their faces. They even praised my father. You've raised quite a daughter, so decisive and capable at such a young age, with both the means and the temperament. She'll likely surpass even your achievements someday. The Su family's child really doesn't know how to conduct themselves properly. It's hard to believe someone as formidable as old Master Su could have such a grandson. We've watched Zhaoran grow up since she was a child. If you ever face any injustice in the future, your uncles will stand up for you. Today's battle was fought exceptionally well by me, giving me a perfectly justifiable reason to deal with the Su family in the future. Upon returning home, the compensation payment and transfer documents from the Su family had already been delivered. Old Master Su is indeed an efficient man. The reason I initially helped the Su family was entirely out of respect for him, a once dominant figure in the business world. It's a pity he was too busy with work to properly raise outstanding sons, and with his grandson still young, the family gradually declined. Mother said with heartache, my dear Ran, are you feeling very sad? Father looked at my money-grubbing expression and chuckled lightly. What's she sad about? She almost laughed out loud during dinner. The one who should be sad is Su Tingshan. Today's concessions cost him quite a fortune, and he's become the laughingstock of the circle again. His position as heir is looking rather shaky. I gave a thumbs up. Dad, you really get me. What's so great about men, making money, and building a career are far more important. Mother was amused by us. Seems I was worrying for nothing. Before I could even take action against Su Tingshan, his company stocks began to plummet, and major newspapers were headlining the news. Probably not wanting to offend our Song family, the newspapers lavished praise on me, from my education and experience to my abilities, looks, and wealth. claiming I was top tier in everything, even in handling relationships with grace. As for Su Tingshan, he was portrayed as love-struck, foolish, and indecisive, with all his past failed decisions laid bare, emphasizing how ordinary he truly was. Even Zhou Qianqian's dirty laundry was aired out. With the language being particularly scathing, nothing about her could even barely pass muster. The conclusion is that a wild boar can't appreciate fine grains. Su Tingshan knew he was out of his league with me, so he shamefully found someone of his own standing. This person must have worked in Hong Kong media before. They've got some real skills. Just as I was happily reading the newspaper, Su Tingshan called, his voice filled with exhaustion and anger. Song Jiaoran. Was it you who tampered with the newspaper and the stocks? I sneered. Su Tingshan, I'm still counting your compensation money right now. When would I have time to deal with you? He angrily retorted. If it's not you, then who could it be? I've already compensated you with so much money and projects. Even if the marriage matter wronged you, we're even now. Don't be insatiably greedy. I curled my lips in a cold smile. Out of kindness for all that compensation money. Let me remind you, your stepmother is no pushover. After saying that, I hung up. He used to be quite clever, but ever since falling in love, he's lost all sense of judgment and become particularly foolish. Emotions can really make people act foolish. That's a proven fact. 5. The stocks of Su Corporation stabilized quickly, and Su Tingshan even made the cover of the Economic Times, filled with praises for him. Wanted to clear the wild boar nickname he was given earlier. But it was too late. The moniker had already become popular in the circle. I even changed his contact name to Wild Boar. To have this matter resolved so swiftly and decisively, it must have been old Master Su's doing. It seems the old man hasn't given up on him yet. Indeed, Su Tingshan is fortunate. His mother was the daughter of old Master Su's comrade-in-arms. That's why old Master Su has been supporting him all along. But the Su family is large, and old Master Su is getting on in years. He won't last much longer. When he passes away, that will be the day I reap the Su group. At the new energy banquet, I encountered Su Tingshan and Zhou Cece. Su Tingshan had gained a few more wrinkles between his brows, and his once sharp eyes now appeared somewhat clouded. It seemed life in the Su family hadn't been kind to him lately. Zhou Cece wore a well-tailored Chanel gown, with shoulder-length wavy hair and exquisite makeup that enhanced her appearance considerably. At least she no longer looked like someone embarrassingly out of place. After just a glance, I paid them no further attention. Securing more projects was my real purpose for being here. Of course, there's one most important goal: to secure Su Tingshan's new energy vehicle project from his past life. It was precisely this project that earned him state support, ultimately allowing him to surpass others and become the industry leader. After successfully negotiating several warm-up projects, I went to the restroom to touch up my makeup, ready to secure the biggest deal. Song Jiaoran, even if you're this beautiful, so what? Tingshan will never like you. Just give up already. Zhou Qianqian stood smugly behind me, watching as I applied lipstick, then sneered. Brother Tingshan hates this color the most. Almost all the women here are wearing dresses, elegant and graceful, yet you deliberately stand out by wearing culottes. Do you think you're so special? Let me tell you, men love women in dresses the most, especially with lace. It's even more feminine. After speaking, she spun around as if to show off, the lace under her skirt catching the light even more conspicuously. After finishing my makeup, I slowly turned to look at her and smiled faintly. I dress beautifully to please myself, not to attract any man. What does it matter whether he likes my lipstick shade or not? I'm not a product to be picked over by anyone. Most women attending this banquet don't have the freedom to dress as they wish. But I'm different. I have the capability and means to choose clothing styles I genuinely like. I hope the dress you're wearing is one you love and actively chose, not one that was chosen for you. Female competition is my least favorite concept, and what I dislike even more is women competing for male attention. A woman's journey can be a career path, scientific research, education, or even the vast cosmos, but it should never be defined by a man, in my view. This kind of woman has too narrow a perspective. We're simply not from the same world, and it's not worth wasting words. 6. Just as I was enthusiastically discussing a project with a renewable energy tycoon, Su Tingshan dragged Zhou Qianqian, her eyes red from crying, to confront me. Song Jiaoran, did you bully Qianqian? Why was she crying after talking to you? I looked at the big shot apologetically. Sorry Mr. Liu, I seem to have a minor issue here. Could you wait for 3 minutes? The new energy tycoon smiled and nodded. No problem, take your time. Only then did I turn to Su Tingshan and say, did you ask Miss Zhou Qianqian for the reason? Accusing me right away would be quite impolite. Provoked by my words, Su Tingshan flew into a rage directly. I have no manners. Look who's talking, you're the one without manners. Yes, I admit you're strong in education, family background, and abilities, but that doesn't cover up the fact that you're selfish, cold, and look down on others. Character comes before work, and virtue comes before character. Mr. Liu, you'd better not cooperate with her. She has serious character flaws. His last words were spoken loudly, drawing the attention of everyone nearby. A glint of triumph flashed in Su Tingshan's eyes. He intended to muddy my partnership with Boss Liu using this dirty trick, then take his place. I merely smiled faintly, my gaze settling on Zhou Qianqian. Can you repeat what I just told you? Zhou Qianqian bit her lip and remained silent, so I asked again, did anyone in the restroom hear my conversation with this lady 10 minutes ago? I remember there seemed to be a beautiful lady in a purple dress also touching up her makeup nearby. The lady in the purple dress raised her hand excitedly and came forward, saying cheerfully, I heard it. It was the first time I've heard such morally upright words, and I remember it vividly. At that time, Miss Song was touching up her makeup when Miss Zhou went over to provoke her, saying that even though Miss Song is beautiful, Su Tingshan would never like her. He even said Mr. Su didn't like Miss Song's lipstick color, and that she wore culottes just to stand out and be unique, claiming men prefer women in lace dresses. Despite the harsh words, Miss Song showed remarkable composure and didn't get angry. Instead, she responded that women dress beautifully to please themselves, not as commodities for others' judgment. She added that most women wearing skirts here lacked clothing freedom, while she had the ability and means to achieve it. She also expressed hope that Miss Zhou wore skirts out of personal preference, not obligation. Her words instantly won thunderous applause from the audience. The little girl's face instantly turned red, and she said somewhat shyly, these are all Sister Song's words. Of course she phrased it more beautifully. I just expressed the meaning as I understood it. Sister Song, you're truly amazing. I want to become as outstanding as you in the future, so I won't be anyone's accessory. I smiled and said, I believe you'll surpass me. Keep it up. When young girls truly awaken to independent thinking, the world will become increasingly wonderful. The little girl happily skipped away, off to show off to her friends. 7. Trying to steal a chicken only to lose the rice. Su Tingshan's face burned crimson with shame as he immediately began shifting the blame onto Zhou Qianqian. Why didn't you explain clearly? I thought she was bullying you. Zhou Qianqian's tears fell in large drops as she sobbed softly. I'm sorry. Before she could finish speaking, Su Tingshan cut her off sharply. What else can you do besides cry? Stop crying. With a somewhat harsh tone and not the best attitude. Is this what he vowed a month ago? To love her for a lifetime, never letting her suffer or shed tears. A man's words aren't even trusted by dogs. After the humiliating scene, Su Tingshan couldn't bear to stay any longer and tried to leave with Zhou Qianqian. I called out to stop him. Su Tingshan, you forgot something, he asked in confusion. What's the matter, Mr. Liu smiled and said, you just slandered Miss Song. Shouldn't you apologize? Su Tingshan suppressed his anger and reluctantly said, sorry, I acted impulsively just now. I smiled slightly and said magnanimously, it's alright, just be more careful next time. He couldn't stay another second and turned to leave, while Zhou Qianqian picked up her skirt and trotted after him. The people around burst into laughter. Today, Su Tingshan had once again become the laughingstock of their circle, thanks to his divine assist. I smoothly secured Boss Liu's project and even reaped a batch of olive branches thrown by female heirs, with invitations to discuss tea and profits later. Who says women together can only talk about clothes, skirts, and cosmetics? As long as we are willing, our journey can also be the stars and the sea. Someone posted these banquet remarks online, and they instantly went viral. My company's account gained over 500,000 followers in a single day, and the stock price soared to unprecedented levels, rising every minute. In today's world where traffic is king, I caught this wave of immense fortune and started selling products through online channels. First day sales exceeded 100 million directly, becoming another legend. Just as I was busy setting up a new production line, I received another call from Su Tingshan. This time, the attitude was clearly much better. Zhaoran, I heard your livestream's first day sales exceeded 100 million. Congratulations, I chuckled lightly. The enthusiasm of netizens really took me by surprise, but it's just the novelty of the first few days. Things will return to normal soon, he said with an apologetic smile. but what you've earned these past few days already exceeds what small listed companies make in a year. Playing with the Rolex my father just rewarded me. I smiled brightly. Not bad. What did you want to see me about? He cleared his throat softly. The fact that you can make money so smoothly from live streaming is partly thanks to me, right? I don't have any other demands. Just hand over the new energy vehicle project with Boss Lou to me. Ever since our engagement was called off, my family has been giving me a hard time. I originally wanted to take on this project to prove myself and make them see me in a new light, but you snatched it away again. Now, I'm struggling at home. I scoffed. So you're saying I should thank you for smearing my reputation at the banquet, is that it? He choked up. Why are you being so harsh now? Didn't we used to exchange projects commercially before? I shot back. You said it yourself, that was before. And even then it was barely an equal exchange. What? Are you trying to get something for nothing now? He angrily retorted. Do you have to be so calculative? You're not short of money. What's the problem with giving me the project? Besides, half the reason I'm in this difficult situation is because of you. You have to take responsibility. I was amused by this shameless remark. I knew he was incompetent, but I never expected him to be this brazen. Su Tingshan, you're not cut out for the business world. You'd be better off playing house. Su Tingshan roared in fury. Song Zhaoran, don't think you're something special just because you've completed a few projects now. I'll make you regret this. I do regret it, not hanging up on him sooner. What a jinx. 8. Su Tingshan's current situation is even worse than he described. He had missed several important banquets, with his younger brother Su Lui attending instead. Though young, Su Lui was eloquent and quickly became familiar with everyone at the events. When others spoke ill of his elder brother, he was the quickest to chime in. I scoffed. The sight of these dogs biting each other was quite entertaining. Su Lui came to toast me, his expression respectful with a hint of flattery. Sister Song, my mom said if I ever see you, I must try to please you. I chuckled lightly. Why? He eagerly replied. My mom wants me to pursue you, saying if we get married, both the Song and Su families would fall into our hands. It's faster than winning the lottery. I curled my lips in a cold smile. And what do you think about that? A look of disdain flashed in his eyes. My mother used to be a tea restaurant waitress. Her greatest skill was seducing men. She knew nothing else. If I really married you, forget about the Song family. Even the Su family would be handed to you on a platter. I know my own worth clearly enough. Elder sister Song, I know what you're trying to do. I can help you, but you'll have to pay me. His eyes gleamed unmistakably with a desire for money. This type of person knows exactly what they want and clearly understands the situation they're in. He's a clever man. I smiled and clinked glasses with him. The price I pay will match the sincerity you show. His eyes lit up. Deal. After finalizing the collaboration, he started taking pleasure in Su Tingshan and Zhou Qianqian's misfortune. Sister Song, do you know how Zhou Qianqian entered our family? She signed a prenuptial agreement. If they divorce, she won't get a single cent. My brother used to treat her decently, but after his career was suppressed by you and his projects were snatched away, he blamed everything on Zhou Qianqian. He often berated her, saying such awful things even a scumbag like me couldn't stand it. Once, when he was drunk, he even kicked her out. It was pouring rain outside, and no matter how much we urged Zhou Qianqian to come back in, she refused, until Grandpa forced my brother to call her inside. Only then did she dare to return. It was truly outrageous. I used to feel sorry for her, but later realized she was just reaping what she sowed. I smiled noncommittally. Many women face this issue, yet they don't see it as a problem. The day will come when more and more women rise up, and they will finally understand that women are not men's appendages. That day is not too far away. 9. The moment the conceptual model of the new energy vehicle was unveiled, it shocked the entire automotive industry. Major business tycoons came knocking one after another, eager to invest. The company's stock has hit the upper limit for 7 consecutive days, with the government also joining the investment and international media outlets scrambling to report on it. For a time, our Song Group was the undisputed center of attention. Su Tingshan encountered continuous setbacks, with all the hard-won projects ending in losses, each one worse than the last. Instead of looking for internal reasons, that fool actually went to worship Buddha and hired a feng shui master. When Su Lui called me, he nearly laughed himself to tears. Sister Song, don't you think my brother is truly foolish? Between striving for progress and being attentive, he chose to burn incense. He even specifically had a monk check Zhou Cici's birth chart, asking if it clashed with his own. The feng shui master said the ancestral grave's location was problematic, so he told his grandfather they needed to move it, which gave Grandpa such high blood pressure he nearly ended up in the emergency room. I couldn't help laughing too. He was even more ridiculous than I'd imagined. Anyone with eyes could see there were internal issues. But his reputation has sunk so low that industry leaders won't work with him. And the elders around him have all lost hope, so no one's giving him guidance. He completely messed up a good hand of cards. After the playful banter, Sulu finally got down to business. Sister Song, would you agree to trade 5% of Song Group's shares for my 20% stake in Su Corporation? I chuckled lightly. The price you're offering now seems a bit high. You're at a disadvantage here, he said proudly. It's worth it. This is the money I've saved for retirement. As long as you manage the Song Group for a day, I'm guaranteed steady returns. You have no idea how fiercely people are scrambling to buy your group stocks out there. Prices change every minute. Impossible to get any, the uncles in the circle all told me, follow you, and there's soup to drink. While this statement may be slightly exaggerated, it's not far from the truth. Since I took over the group, I shifted from my father's stability-focused approach to rapid expansion. The conservative faction on the board initially opposed me, thinking I was too radical. But now the conservatives think I'm being too cautious and that we could be even more aggressive. A few days later, I received a short video from Su Lui. In the video, Su Tingshan was berating Zhou Qianqian. Ever since I got together with you, nothing has gone right for me. It must be because your horoscope clashes with mine. Let's get divorced. I'll give you a small house in the suburbs as compensation. Zhou Qianqian cried pitifully, kneeling on the ground. I don't want to divorce you. I love you. I'll do anything you ask, just don't divorce me, Su Tingshan said with disgust. Are you unhappy with the small house I'm offering? Take a look in the mirror and see what you're worth. If you were someone like Song Jiaran, I could give you billions. For someone like you, even a house worth a few $100,000 is too much. Zhou Qianqian shook her head desperately. I don't want your house, nor your money. I just want to be with you. When you proposed to me before, you said you'd be good to me for a lifetime. You can't break your promise. If I lose you, my life would be meaningless. I truly love you so much. Su Tingshan kicked her away and even tried to hit her. Old man Su appeared in a wheelchair, shouting angrily, you beast, stop right there, cough. Then came the panicked voices of everyone, old master. Then the video went black and stopped at this point. Soon after, I received a call from my father, telling me to go to the private hospital immediately. Old man Su was critically ill and kept murmuring my name. Although I had already seen Grandpa Su looking frail and haggard in the video, my heart still ached when I saw him lying weakly on the hospital bed. I grew up listening to his legendary stories, watching him build towering heights, only to see them crumble. Grandpa Su, with an oxygen tube in his nose, gently grasped my hand and spoke weakly. Child, Grandpa has a favor to ask of you. With a complicated expression, I said, Grandpa, go ahead. Grandpa Su gasped for breath for a long time before saying, help the Su Group. Take a look. This was asking me to go easy on the Su Group. I reassured him, Grandpa, only when a drop of water truly enters the sea will it never disappear. Grandpa Su was stunned for a long moment before finally understanding, saying with a sense of loss, this old man is indeed getting old. The lass is right. After saying these words, he slowly closed his eyes and passed away peacefully, instantly. The hospital room was filled with kneeling filial descendants. Su Tingshan, now sober, had bloodshot eyes and was crying the most intensely. Grandpa, please don't go. It's your grandson's unfilial fault. As soon as he finished speaking, Uncle Su stepped forward and kicked him to the ground, saying fiercely, how dare you say that? If it weren't for you, Dad wouldn't have died so early. Grandpa always loved you the most since childhood and placed high hopes on you. You kept saying you would inherit the company, make Grandpa's business bigger and stronger, and even surpass him, but now, under your leadership, the group is deteriorating day by day, about to be delisted from the stock market, you bastard. While saying this, he started hitting him, even pulling out the belt from his waist and giving him a good beating, except for Zhou Cece. Everyone else had a look of enjoying the show. Thinking he deserved to be beaten to death, Su Lui even came up to me, gloating and said, Sister Song, is it lively here? That time when my brother said he was breaking off the engagement with you, my dad got so drunk that night he almost beat him to death, calling him an idiot for spitting out the feast the heavens had served to his lips. He also said the Su family would never rise again, and once Grandpa passes, it'll be game over. 11. On the day of Grandpa Su's funeral, all the prominent figures from Beijing's elite circles attended, marking the final glory of the Su family. After the funeral, I prepared to leave with my parents. Su Tingshan stopped me. Jiaran, I have something to tell you. I nodded, say it here if you have something to say. He looked troubled. Let's go aside, there are too many people here. I raised an eyebrow. I'm in a hurry, if you won't talk, forget it. A flash of determination crossed his eyes as he immediately knelt down before all the mourners. Everyone turned to look in unison. Their faces wearing mocking smirks and sneers, once hailed as the crown prince of their social circle, the object of countless admirations. Now his face was bruised, his expression haggard, with the nearly bankrupt Sioux group making him the laughingstock of the moment. Zhaoran, breaking off our engagement back then was a moment of madness for me. I know I was wrong now. Please give me another chance. I glanced at the frail and pale Zhou Cece standing beside me. What about her, Zhou Cece? You once said she was your true love, that you'd never let her down in this lifetime. A look of disgust flashed in Su Tingshan's eyes. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't have ended up like this. I regret it every single day. The once white moonlight has now become a cinnabar mole. Oh, wait, no, it's mosquito blood. I smiled faintly. Sorry, I'm not a garbage recycling station. I don't take trash. Su Tingshan roared furiously. Song Zhaoran. I've already knelt before you. What more do you want from me? I leaned down and whispered in his ear. I want you dead, but before that, I want you to endure torment neither human nor ghost could bear. After speaking, I turned and strode away, leaving him to his impotent rage behind me. It took me a week to acquire the former industry leader, Sioux Corporation, but I didn't dismantle or sell it. The structure remained unchanged. No projects or staff were cut. The only difference was that I became the boss. At the victory banquet, all the industry titans attended. Once they came for my parents, now they come for me. Perhaps I performed too exceptionally, or perhaps those executives discovered their daughters also had talent. Visibly, there are increasingly more female heirs now. The banquet no longer features uniform strapless mini dresses and high heels, but more women in sleek culottes. Now we too can hold champagne flutes while discussing multi-million-dollar projects with the men. Gave it my all and finally got the admission ticket. 12. After the Sioux group was acquired, Su Tingshan was also kicked out of the Sioux family, only receiving a small portion of Grandpa Su's inheritance, so he started his own business, dreaming of making a comeback and crushing me under his feet. Perhaps given some time, he might actually make progress, but how could I possibly let him live another peaceful day, starting a business, discussing projects, failing, starting over, discussing projects again, failing again. The cycle repeated. His funds were long exhausted, and the loan shark's demands kept growing. He thought his family would help him repay, but only after losing a hand did he realize his fear and went back to beg his father to settle the debts. The outcome was that Sulu humiliated him mercilessly. So that beast Su Tingshan wanted to sell Zhou Cece to pay off his debts. Zhou Cece was completely disillusioned with him by then and came to find me. Song Zhaoran, please, save me. I don't want to be sold to that kind of place by him. I asked her, how do you want me to save you? Help pay off his debts, she said through gritted teeth. That beast deserves to die. I just beg you to give me a job. I'll do anything. That man wouldn't dare harass you. I nodded in satisfaction. Good. If she'd said to help pay the debts, I would have had security throw her out. Although Su Tingshan's reason for killing me in my past life was because of her, that was merely an excuse from a selfish and malicious man, nothing more than wanting women to hate each other and engage in petty competition. In this world where gender inequality has persisted for so long, many women have faced son preference and discrimination from the moment they were born. To secure their privileges, they continuously seek to subjugate women. I am one of the lucky ones, but I hope more and more women will be as fortunate as I am in the future. She works extremely hard and is very diligent. While not exceptionally outstanding, she performs much better than the average man. Su Tingran came looking for Zhou Qianqian and even tried to harass her. She ended up splashing prepared coffee in his face. Watching him writhe in pain on the ground, she said with disgust, if you harass me again, I'll call the police, you disgusting piece of trash. The timid little woman who once stood meekly behind men has finally broken free from her shell, embracing a new life. 13. Su Tingshan, unable to repay his debts, had his kidney harvested and was then sent to work in a male brothel, beginning his life as a prostitute. What pervert wouldn't want a taste of the once proud and privileged elite? In the end, he was played to death, his face twisted in agony and horror. It said he kept screaming my name until his last breath, talking nonsense about rebirth and other mystical things. The Su family refused to accept his ashes. Zhou Qianqian went to collect them, then directly poured them into the sewage ditch. This counts as returning something to its rightful owner. That actually makes a lot of sense. She treated me to dinner at the revolving restaurant in the evening. It's very expensive here. costing her nearly half a month's salary. You know what? The first time I saw you, I was so jealous. How could there be such a beautiful and outstanding girl? The reason I cried at that banquet was because it was the first time someone told me those words, that women have the right to make their own choices. Although I have a younger brother at home and my parents don't particularly favor sons over daughters, they've taught me since childhood to do laundry and cook, to speak softly, not to be too opinionated, and not to steal the spotlight. Yet what they taught my brother was to aim for first place, to become stronger and more outstanding, not to be as unpromising as a woman, or else he'd be looked down upon. Today is the day of my business marriage with Su Tingshan. The wedding cost millions, with a seaside banquet, romantic and beautiful. Actually, if Su Tingshan hadn't married me at that wedding, I would have jumped into the river to kill myself. I even had the suicide note prepared. Do you think I'm foolish? But that's just how it is where I'm from. A woman must stay with the man she first gives herself to, otherwise she'll be looked down upon. No man would want me, and it would bring shame and disgrace to my parents. But now I understand that a woman is never a man's appendage. She can be herself, have her own career, and even be stronger than men. When my parents found out I now earn such a high salary and work for a listed company, they walk with their heads held high in the village, saying I'm amazing and their pride. Zhaoran, thank you for giving me a new life. I raised my glass and lightly clinked it with hers, smiling. You should thank yourself too, for choosing to save yourself. In this world that is unfair to women, please, time and again, rescue yourself from the depths of hardship. Story 2. In my past life, I always missed Gu Jianzhou with regret. It was not easy for us to get married after many twists and turns. On the wedding night, he said he was going to participate in foreign aid construction projects abroad. He left me behind and was gone for 10 years without any news. 10 years later, he came back with the woman he had liked since his youth, Shen Jixin. We didn't get the marriage certificate or consummate the marriage back then, so our marriage is not legal. I'm getting married, and it's inappropriate for you to stay in my house any longer. Only then did I realize that the regretful misses I thought were just his deliberate actions. He had a happy family reunion, was riding high on success, moved into a new house, and married a new bride. But what about me? People say the city is full of beautiful flowers like brocade, yet I didn't come across spring when I arrived. Living again, I took the first step and left without saying goodbye on the wedding day. However, he completely broke down at the wedding without the bride. 1. Jianzhou. Your little fiancé is here again to check up on you. She's so clingy, as if she's afraid that you, this phoenix, will fly away. Yeah, she might as well tie you to her waist. Don't talk nonsense. Look, the little girl's face is blushing. I suddenly raised my eyes and looked at the owner of that soft female voice. It was Yao Sivan. She had black hair, fair skin, and a slender figure. When she smiled, she was sweet and innocent. She was the recognized goddess of the Department of Architecture. She was also the woman that Gu Jianzhou never forgot and pursued throughout his life and his past life. At this moment, I suddenly realized, I was reborn to the time before the wedding, when Gu Jianzhou took a marriage leave to come back and hold the wedding, and Yao Sivan was the sweetheart he brought back in his past life. At this time, she was smiling and looking at me. Are you looking for Jianzhou? He'll come downstairs soon. 2. I stood in the sunlight, lost in a daze. Gu Jianzhou had already walked over with a cold face. What are you doing here again? He walked through the crowd and stood in front of me. He grabbed my arm and pulled me to a small path on the side. I'm having a gathering with my classmates. Do you have to pester me? He pushed his glasses and looked at me with displeasure. Shen Jixin, there are only 5 days left until the wedding. Can you give me the last 5 days of freedom? The lush branches above cast large patches of shade. The sunlight filtered through the gaps in the shade, shimmering on his face like broken pieces of gold. But in his eyes when he looked at me, there was only the coldness like frost and snow. I looked at the man in front of me. The man I had loved for 18 years in my past life. Now he was in the prime of his life, elegant and handsome. But who could have imagined how cruel and cold-hearted this person was beneath that good-looking appearance? I withdrew my gaze, lowered my eyes, and smiled. Sorry, Gu Jianzhou, I won't bother you anymore. After saying that, I turned around and was about to leave, but Gu Jianzhou grabbed my arm again. What kind of temper are you throwing now? I've already agreed to marry you. What else are you dissatisfied with? I suddenly turned around and shook off his hand. Gu Jianzhou was a bit stunned, but soon the disgust in his eyes became even more pronounced. Shen Jixin, if you keep making trouble, we might as well cancel the wedding. 3. I took a deep breath. I swallowed all the unwillingness, grievances, hatred, and bitterness surging in my chest. I will return everything he did to me in my past life. Exactly as it was, so, when I spoke again, my tone had softened. When I looked at him, there was also a hint of grievance in my eyes. I'm not making trouble, I just have some things to ask for your opinion about the wedding, so that's why I came. Gu Jianzhou waved his hand to interrupt me before I could finish. I have no opinion, I've said it before. Just do it according to your preferences. Okay, then I won't ask you about the following procedures. It seemed that because I was behaving very obediently, or perhaps because there was still a bit of guilt in his heart, Gu Jianzhou suddenly raised his hand and rubbed the top of my head. Alright, I'll come back early tonight to have dinner with you. I pretended to be happy. Okay, then I'll wait for you. Gu Jianzhou couldn't help but smile, but in an instant, he frowned and suppressed his smile. I pretended not to notice and left happily. I walked a long way. Then I slowly squatted down under the shade of the trees and let my tears flow freely. 4. During dinner, Gu Jianzhou came back, but he wasn't alone. He brought Yao Sivan with him. In his past life, he had always hidden his feelings, and I knew nothing about his liking for Yao Sivan. In this life, before marrying me, he couldn't help but show his eagerness. Yao Sivan greeted everyone in the Gu family with a sweet smile. She also gave each of them exquisitely packaged gifts. Yao Sivan was beautiful, elegant, and dignified, standing beside Gu Jianzhou, who was tall, slender, and handsome. They were a perfect match, and I seemed to be an outsider who didn't fit in. Zhixian, this is for you. I wish you and Jianzhou a happy wedding. Yao Sivan walked up to me and handed me the gift. I took it openly and thanked her. She seemed a bit surprised by my reaction, pursed her lips, and the smile in her eyes gradually faded. Zhixian, go and prepare the meal. Aunt Gu naturally gave me the order, just like countless times before. I put the gift down and raised my finger wrapped in a band-aid. I said lightly, I accidentally cut my hand this morning, so I can't cook tonight. Gu Jinchuan rolled his eyes. You're so delicate. Just because you cut your hand, you can't cook. Gu Jinxiu also chimed in. I think you just want to be lazy. Aunt Gu looked at me and smiled. Zhixian is going to be a bride. Of course, a bride is delicate. I have to be the old woman to do it then. Yao Sivan quickly followed to the kitchen. Aunt, since Zhixian's hand is injured, let me help you. How can that be? You're a guest. It's okay, Aunt. I'm just going to help out. Soon Yao Sivan came out with the cooked dishes. Zhixian, come and take the dishes. I still need to help Aunt peel the scallions. She naturally asked me to help. I stood up and was just about to take the plate, but before my hand touched it, the plate flipped over directly. The scalding fish pieces spilled all over Yao Sivan, especially on her bare calves, which were instantly scalded red. She let out a cry, squatted down and covered her calf, and tears filled her eyes. Shin Zhixian, did you do it on purpose? Gu Jianzhou was furious and pushed me aside. 5. I stumbled a few steps and still fell to the ground. My palm happened to press on the sticky fish pieces, and the sharp fishbone pierced the skin. My forehead also hit the edge of the table heavily. Gu Jianzhou carefully helped Yao Sivan up, then he coldly looked at me. Hurry up and apologize to Sivan. I endured the intense pain and stood up shakily. The blood from my palm flowed down and dripped onto my skirt, creating a shocking sight. Gu Jianzhou seemed to be stunned for a moment, but then the coldness gradually filled his eyes as he looked at me. Zhixian, apologize. Jianzhou, it's okay. Zhixian didn't mean not to take the plate on purpose. Yao Sivan quickly tugged at his sleeve and softly tried to dissuade him. Shin Zhixian, didn't you hear what I said? I told you to apologize to Sivan. What if I don't want to? Then I will cancel the wedding immediately. Gu Jianzhou stood up and looked down at me. Shin Zhixian, you know my temper. I never take back what I say. 6. Yao Sivan stood behind him. When I looked at her, she secretly curled her lips into a smile. I knew she was provoking me. She didn't want me to apologize. She wanted the wedding to be cancelled. She wanted to marry Gu Jianzhou. She didn't want to marry someone she didn't love, and she had gone through many detours. She finally got her wish when she got married for the second time, but I didn't let her get what she wanted. Okay, I'll apologize. I pursed my lips, with tears in my eyes. There was both grievance and fear on my face, and the moment I apologized, Gu Jianzhou clearly let out a sigh of relief, although soon, he turned cold again. Don't let it happen again. He took the first aid kit that Gu Jinchuan brought. He glanced at me coldly. The wedding is just a few days away. Be more obedient. I lowered my head and wept silently. I looked timid and terrified. Gu Jianzhou carefully treated Yao Sivan's injury and then said gently, I'd better take you to the hospital to have a look, in case there's a scar left. Is it inconvenient? Zhixian will be unhappy. No, it was her who caused the trouble in the first place. After Gu Jianzhou finished speaking, he gave me a very cold look. She caused the trouble, and I have to clean up the mess for her. What right does she have to be unhappy? Gu Jianzhou didn't come back that night. A strange number sent me a few messages. He's worried about my injury and afraid that I'll be in pain, so he's going to stay with me tonight. Go to bed early, don't wait in vain, new bride. She was right, I really should go to bed early. There were still many things waiting for me to deal with, for example, those old houses and shops left by my parents, and the inheritance they left me. The houses should be handed over to a reliable real estate agent for sale, and after liquidating and organizing all the inheritance, I will take it all away. I won't leave a single cent for the Gu family. 7. The day before the wedding, I needed to try on the wedding dress again for the final adjustment. In my past life, Gu Jianzhou just briefly tried on the groom's suit and then left. This time, he actually didn't leave, until I finished trying on the main wedding dress. He was still sitting on the sofa outside, and when I came out, there was clearly a flash of amazement in his eyes. The waist circumference seems a bit big, it would be better to tighten it a little more for a better effect, after the stylist said softly. Gu Jianzhou also agreed, indeed, Zhixian has a slender waist. Let's tighten it a bit more, but I shook my head, no need, this is more comfortable, anyway, I won't wear it, so it doesn't matter if it's big or small. When you first came to our house as a child, you cried every day and every night. He stood up and walked over, hugging my waist from behind. In the blink of an eye, you've grown into a beautiful young woman, Zhixian. We're getting married. He lowered his head, his eyes filled with affection, and he wanted to kiss me. But I raised my hand to block him. There are people here. I pretended to be shy, and Gu Jianzhou chuckled, looking very pleased. Then we'll wait until the wedding night, he whispered in my ear, and I lowered my head and smiled ironically without a sound. The bride and groom can't meet on the night before the wedding. Since I didn't have a family of my own, I stayed in a hotel. When Gu Jianzhou sent me to the downstairs, his phone happened to ring. It should have been Yao Siban who called. He seemed a bit distracted. I deliberately made a jealous and aggrieved expression. Gu Jianzhou raised his eyebrows. Alright, the wedding is tomorrow. Don't pull a long face at me because of trivial matters, then come to pick me up early tomorrow. I looked up at him, my eyes full of uneasiness and anticipation. Gu Jianzhou was clearly pleased. I'll come according to the auspicious time, don't worry. After saying that, he left in a hurry. I also immediately turned around and went upstairs. I checked the bank cards and passbooks one last time, and then made a few calls to the real estate agent. Then I took a shower and went to bed. I had no dreams that night. 8. Gu Jianzhou, however, had some trouble falling asleep. When it was almost dawn, he took a short nap, but he dreamed of Xin Zhixian for no reason. In the dream, it was the scene of her trying on the wedding dress yesterday. Every frown, every smile, every move was very beautiful. During his negligence, Xin Zhixian had quietly transformed into a beautiful girl. Her waist was very slender, her skin was very fair. Although she wasn't as tall as Yao Sivan, she was petite and cute. She wasn't as thin as Yao Sivan and still had the greenness and plumpness of a young girl. The scene in the dream was a bit improper. This seemed to be the first time that he had absurd desires for Xin Zhixian, whom he had always disdained. When he was woken up by the phone call, Gu Jianzhou was somewhat inexplicably annoyed. He even wondered if he should postpone leaving for one more day. Should he wait until after the wedding night before leaving? At least, since she had loved him for so many years, it could be considered a meager return to her. But the voice on the phone made him instantly sober up. What did you say? The bride is missing. He suddenly stood up, and his fingers holding the phone were slightly trembling. This is impossible. Did you go to the wrong room? No, Mr. Gu, we didn't go to the wrong room. The front desk said that the room was checked out 2 hours ago. Miss Shen's phone number can't be reached either. The makeup artist was almost crying. Gu Jianzhou felt a deafening buzzing in his ears like the sound of war. It took him a while to find his voice. I'll call her. Please wait for a moment. But Xin Zhixian's phone number couldn't be reached. Gu Jianzhou flipped through the contact list randomly, not knowing who to call. He didn't have any contact information of Xin Zhixian's friends or relatives. He knew nothing about her. Over the years, she had been infatuated with him and followed in his footsteps. He had already been certain that he had her firmly in his grasp, so even at this moment, he still couldn't believe that Xin Zhixian dared to leave him. Gu Jianzhou casually put on his clothes and drove to the hotel himself. On the way, he was so flustered that he even ran 2 red lights. When he was almost at the hotel, he called Xin Zhixian again, but still couldn't get through. His heart sank uncontrollably, but the makeup artist's phone call came again. Mr. Gu, the bride has been found. It was a misunderstanding just now. Gu Jianzhou felt his heart settle down immediately. The thick fog pressing on his heart seemed to be suddenly pushed aside by a big hand. The car suddenly braked and stopped by the roadside. His voice was a bit trembling. "Say that again, Mr. Gu. The bride has been found. She said she didn't sleep well last night and temporarily changed the room." Gu Jianzhou didn't really hear what else the makeup artist said. He leaned back in the car seat and suddenly smiled. He was really crazy. Shen Zhixian loved him so much, loved him to the bone. How could she possibly run away from the wedding? What was even crazier was that he had almost believed it just now. It was really ridiculous and absurd. 9. Before the wedding, the Gu family had someone calculate the horoscopes of the two of them. Due to some taboos, the groom couldn't go to pick up the bride in person. When the wedding procession that picked up the bride returned to the wedding venue, Gu Jianzhou had already changed into a neatly ironed and expensive black suit and stood downstairs holding flowers. However, when the groomsmen got out of the car, their expressions were all different, and the originally scheduled bridesmaids didn't show up. The bride sat in the car, and her face was covered by a white veil. Only a vaguely beautiful side profile could be seen. Gu Jianzhou originally thought he wouldn't be very excited. After all, there was always a bit of reluctance in marrying Shen Zhixian, but for some unknown reason, at the moment he saw the bride in the car, there was still an inexplicable ripple in his heart. Under that indescribable emotion, there seemed to be a hidden joy surging. He thought of Shen Zhixian's beautiful and charming appearance when she tried on the wedding dress for the last time. He thought of her gentle and affectionate eyes looking at him. A soft and tender feeling seemed to quietly grow in his heart. In addition to his successful career, a woman's steadfast love for many years, it can also make a man feel extremely proud and satisfied. He held the bouquet of flowers and slowly walked up to the car. Several of the groomsmen were his old classmates and friends. At this time, they looked at him as if they wanted to say something but held back, and in the end, they didn't say anything. The car door opened, and Gu Jianzhou reached out his hand. "Zhixian." He didn't know that when he pronounced her name, there was already a faint smile in his eyes. The fingers wrapped in white lace were soft and slender. They gently landed in his palm. Gu Jianzhou immediately held them, but the moment he held them, an unusual feeling suddenly rose in his heart. This didn't seem to be Shen Zhixian's hand. Her fingers were softer, and her hands were softer too. He could just hold them in his palm, and at this moment, the bride also turned around and got out of the car. Through the white veil, she looked at Gu Jianzhou shyly and timidly. However, the moment their eyes met, Gu Jianzhou suddenly shook off the hand he was holding. The color seemed to completely drain from his face in an instant, and around them, there was a deathly silence. Yao Sivan was first stunned, then couldn't believe it. In the end, her eyes were already red with grievance and embarrassment. 10. The bouquet of flowers in Gu Jianzhou's hand fell. He turned around, grabbed someone at random, and asked in a hoarse voice, "What's going on? Where is Shen Zhixian? Didn't you go to the hotel to pick her up? Didn't you even notice that you picked up the wrong person? What are you doing?" His emotions suddenly got out of control, and his voice suddenly rose a notch. "We don't know either. When we went to pick up the bride, Sivan was the only one in the room. Yeah, we didn't see Shen Zhixian at all." Gu Jianzhou turned around and his gaze fixed on the makeup artist. "Didn't you say the bride was found? Is this what you call found, Mr. Gu?" "It's not my fault." The makeup artist was almost crying. She was just a worker. What could she do? If Miss Xiao hadn't said that she would take all the responsibility, she wouldn't have dared to tell such a lie at all. She just wanted to earn this money. "Jianzhou, it has nothing to do with her. It was my arrangement." Yao Sivan got out of the car and stood up straight with her back. Her eyes were very red, but her face was calm and composed. "Zhixian is missing, and the wedding is about to start. I didn't want you to be embarrassed, so I came up with such an idea. If you want to blame someone, blame me. If you want to scold someone, scold me. It has nothing to do with anyone else." When she said this, she suddenly lowered her head slightly. When the tears she had been holding back fell, Yao Sivan gave a sad smile again. "I like you so much that I did something stupid. Jianzhou, why don't we just let it be? Don't you have a crush on Sivan all the time? Besides, Sivan shares the same ideals and pursuits with you. Isn't she much better than your little child bride? On such an important day as the wedding, she lost her temper and left just like that. Do you really want to invite her back with a grand procession? Who knows how much trouble she might cause in the future? The auspicious time is coming soon. Jianzhou, make a decision quickly." Everyone chattered on. Yao Sivan gradually stopped sobbing, and there was a faint hope in her eyes as she looked at Gu Jianzhou. Gu Jianzhou stood still for a long time. Then he slowly turned around and looked at everyone. Yao Sivan in the white wedding dress was very beautiful. He didn't deny that he and Yao Sivan did share the same ideals and pursuits. He had a crush on Yao Sivan during their days together, but he also always knew that the person he was going to marry was Shen Zhixian. He had already regarded her as his wife in his heart. Even though he had gradually come to think Shen Zhixian was no longer worthy of him, but he had never thought of breaking the marriage contract. Instead, he let her cling to him, but Gu Jianzhou never expected. He didn't have the determination to dump Shen Zhixian. He was going to fulfill the agreement and have a wedding with her. Even though he had hidden from her the fact that he was going to participate in foreign aid construction abroad. But he had also decided that he would postpone his departure for a few days, to give her a perfect wedding and a wedding night. If he was lucky, she would have a child. From then on, she could also establish a firm foothold in the Gu family. He could be considered to have not betrayed the kindness of her family and her love for him over the years, but now, Shen Zhixian had disappeared on the eve of the wedding. 11. Gu Jianzhou couldn't figure it out. Where did she get the courage to act like this with him? Just because he had gotten a little closer to Yao Sivan, just because that day in the Gu family, he had protected the scalded Yao Sivan and blamed her. But where did Shen Zhixian get the confidence to act like this with him? Was she not afraid that this marriage would be completely cancelled? Or did she think that relying on the kindness of her parents, she could really do whatever she wanted and play with him at will? Gu Jianzhou had never been so angry and ill-mannered in his life. He even thought that maybe he should just let it be as his friends said, just marry Yao Sivan. But for some unknown reason, he looked at the beautiful and elegant Yao Sivan in front of him. The wedding dress she was wearing was the main wedding dress that Shen Zhixian had chosen. She was a little taller than Shen Zhixian, but she was thinner than her. Therefore, the waist was looser, and the chest was even more empty. He couldn't help but think of Shen Zhixian's appearance when she tried on the wedding dress yesterday. She stood in front of him, delicate and graceful, but with full curves. He was really amazed at that time. Shen Zhixian's usual clothes were very ordinary, mostly loose and casual, so he didn't even know that she was so beautiful when dressed up. Jianzhou, seeing that he stood there without moving for a long time, Yao Sivan couldn't help but call out softly, but Gu Jianzhou suddenly raised his hand, tore off the groom's boutonniere on his chest, and casually threw it on the ground. Zhixian is suddenly not feeling well, let's postpone the wedding to another day. After saying that, he didn't look at anyone, nor did he look at Yao Sivan again. He just turned around and left directly. Yao Sivan stood there in a daze. Gradually, her face turned red. Everyone's eyes were on her face and body. Some felt sorry for her. Some were indignant for her. But more people seemed to be waiting to see her make a fool of herself. Yao Sivan's whole body was shaking, and her fingertips were cold and trembling constantly. She had never experienced such humiliation in her life. Even though her family background was ordinary, she had relied on her own efforts to get into a university in Beijing all the way. As the belle of the Department of Architecture, she had always been the center of attention among the boys. Gu Jianzhou had also been very attentive to her on a daily basis, but it was such a man whom she had treated like a lapdog. He actually made her so embarrassed in full view of everyone. Why? Yao Sivan tore off the veil. When the tears burst out, she threw the veil hard on the ground. 12. It wasn't until I got on the plane to leave that I finally let out a sigh of relief. The plane soared into the high clouds. I leaned back in my seat and closed my eyes gently. Everything that had been like a nightmare in my past life came to a brief end at this moment. I don't know what the future path will be like, but I only know one thing. After staying away from this ungrateful family, my future will only become brighter and brighter. When I was 5 years old, my parents died in an earthquake. At the most critical moment, they tried their best to push Gu Jianzhou out, and he managed to save his life. So, the Gu family naturally adopted me as a way to repay the favor. They also arranged a marriage between me and Gu Jianzhou to ensure that I would have someone to rely on for life. But after I grew up, this kindness changed its nature. As Gu Jianzhou's future became more promising, I, an orphan girl, became the lucky one who was seen as climbing up to the Gu family. Later, Gu Jianzhou went abroad for foreign aid construction and never sent any news again. I sold the house left to me by my parents to treat Gu Jianzhou's mother's illness. She was paralyzed for 5 years. And I took good care of her for 5 years. Later, Gu Jianzhou's younger brother and sister got married, had children. She said that an elder sister-in-law was like a mother. I willingly took out the inheritance left by my parents. When Gu Jianzhou got married, it was me who gave her the confidence with a dowry of 360,000 yuan. When she gave birth to a daughter, I gave her a red envelope of 60,000 yuan to show off. When she was beaten by her husband, I helped her seek justice. Fought the divorce lawsuit, and personally picked her and the child up and brought them back to her parents' home. But when Gu Jianzhou finally wanted to drive me away, it was also her who said disdainfully, "We have raised you for more than 10 years. Our family has already repaid the kindness of your family. To repay the favor, we also sacrificed my elder brother's lifetime happiness. If you have a conscience, you should quickly make way for my sister-in-law." Later, when Gu Jianzhou came back with Yao Sivan, it was also her and her daughter who agreed to their marriage and happily accepted Yao Sivan. They also tacitly approved of Gu Jianzhou's decision to drive me away. In fact, Gu Jianzhou had been sending money back for 10 years. In fact, he and Yao Sivan had already lived together in a foreign country and had children. Everyone in the Gu family knew about it. Only I was kept in the dark and was squeezed dry of the last bit of my value of being used. In the end, I died miserably of a serious illness that couldn't be cured. Thinking of all this, I just feel it's extremely ridiculous. If my parents knew this in the afterlife, would they regret risking their lives to save Gu Jianzhou? I will never know the answer to this question, and I, who have lived 2 lifetimes, I no longer insist that good people will be rewarded. 13. Gu Jianzhou made countless phone calls but couldn't get through. And all the phone numbers of the people in the Gu family had also been blocked and deleted by Shen Jixian. At first, Mrs. Gu didn't take it seriously. "Jianzhou, don't go looking for her. Which new bride dares to make such a big fuss and put on such a big show? She's just trying to act coy and make you give in. We won't do it." In her opinion, Shen Jixian, an orphan girl with no one to rely on, she was full of love for her son whom she regarded as her pride. And she simply couldn't really run far away. Now that she had made such a scene, it was just to let off some steam. How could she be willing to give up such a great marriage? Gu Jianzhou stood by the window but didn't move for a long time. He always had an ominous premonition. Shen Jixian wasn't making trouble with him, nor was she using retreat as a means of advance. She was really angry, really, and didn't want to marry him anymore. Yesterday, when she tried on the wedding dress, the kiss that was pushed away, last night, when he sent her back to the hotel, she was so obedient and sensible that she urged him to leave. She was no longer like before. At the slightest sign of trouble, she would be anxious and come to him crying and making a fuss. She was extremely vigilant towards every isomerism who appeared around him. She cared about him so much that it gradually made him feel bored. So he had applied for the foreign aid construction project abroad without telling her. He had repaid the kindness he owed, and he didn't owe her anything. He could leave with a clear conscience. He could pursue another kind of life that he wanted, but he never expected that the person who took the first step at the wedding, it would actually be Shen Jixian. "Mom, what about my gold jewelry?" Gu Jinxiu suddenly spoke up. "You promised me that as soon as she entered the house, you would immediately ask her to buy me a whole set of gold jewelry. Now that she's run away and there's no trace of her, are my gold jewelry going to fly away too?" Gu Jianzhou's heart suddenly moved. Shen Jixian's parents left her a considerable inheritance. In addition to the house and the shops, there was also a large amount of cash deposit. In fact, over the years, on the surface, the Gu family had been raising her, but in reality, Gu Jianzhou had also heard about how much money the Gu family had spent from the Shen family. Now that he couldn't get in touch with Shen Jixian, but as long as the things in her name were still there, that meant she didn't really want to leave. She was just throwing a tantrum to scare him. "What are you in a hurry for? When she comes back and begs your brother to marry her, you can just ask her for whatever you want, right, Mrs. Gu said casually, but Gu Jinxiu still pouted. "Who knows when she'll come back? What if she doesn't come back? How could that be? You know how much she likes your brother." "That's true. If it weren't for the fact that she was sincere to my brother, I wouldn't have agreed to this marriage." Gu Jianzhou suddenly turned around and said, "Mom, you go out immediately and ask someone to inquire." "Inquire about what?" "Inquire about those properties in Jixian's name and see if they are still there." Mrs. Gu was immediately anxious. "Jianzhou, what do you mean by that? If they are all still there, it means that Jixian is just throwing a tantrum at me this time. If they are all gone." Gu Jianzhou suddenly smiled self-deprecatingly and didn't continue, but Mrs. Gu immediately understood. She couldn't sit still any longer and rushed outside. "I'll go and ask someone to inquire right away. Those houses of hers and those shops, it's not something that can be sold in a short time." "Brother, what exactly do you mean? Could it be that Shen Jixian really ran away from the wedding?" Gu Jinxiu was immediately anxious. She had already boasted in front of a group of her cousins. Now that Shen Jixian had really run away from the wedding, wouldn't her jewelry be gone? Where would she put her face? Gu Jianzhou sneered and looked at her. "Why are you in such a hurry now? Didn't you always dislike her and not want this sister-in-law, who would turn down money?" "Yes." Who would turn down money? So the Gu family looked down on Shen Jixian on one hand, but on the other hand, they clung to the marriage contract and refused to let go, and he himself, deep down in his heart, didn't he think the same way? Shen Jixian had money but had no one to rely on, all her relatives had died in the earthquake, and she was deeply in love with him. If he married her, her things would naturally become the Gu family's things. So he could apply for the foreign aid construction project abroad with peace of mind, without any worries. Gu Jingxiu was despicable and selfish. Wasn't he also such a despicable person? Brother, she won't really leave, will she? Gu Jianzhou walked outside expressionlessly. I don't know, brother, if she really leaves, what should we do? Gu Jingxiu stamped her feet repeatedly. Mom said she wants to change to a villa. And the deposit has already been paid. Gu Jianzhou sneered again and again. Whoever wants to change the villa should pay for it, brother. Gu Jianzhou slammed the door and left, shutting out the ear-piercing cries behind him. I went to a southern city that I have always liked, when I was taking the college entrance examination, because Gu Jianzhou went to Beijing. I chased after him and went to Beijing as well, but in fact, the university I most desired to attend was not the one in Beijing. Now I have a lot of free time and am also financially independent, naturally. I have the conditions to fulfill my dreams. After settling down, I directly bought a 2-bedroom apartment near that university. After taking a half-month break, I started preparing for the postgraduate entrance examination. I didn't get to study at this university as an undergraduate, but it's also good to study here for my postgraduate degree. In my past life, Gu Jianzhou achieved success and fame in his career. When he returned, his family was reunited. They moved into a new house. And he married a new bride. He was truly riding the crest of success. But what about me? People say that the city is full of beautiful flowers like brocade, yet I didn't come across spring when I arrived. The spring scenery of the whole city that I missed in my past life. I will make up for it myself in this life. In the second month after I settled down, Gu Jianzhou, who was originally supposed to go abroad for aid construction, suddenly showed up. At that time, the spring scenery was just right. I had just come out of the school library. I saw Gu Jianzhou standing downstairs at a glance. He had lost a lot of weight, but he was still outstanding among the bustling crowd. If it weren't for this, I wouldn't have poured all my love into him during my early teenage years when I first fell in love. But now, the person who could make my heart race and my face blush just by looking at each other can no longer stir up the slightest ripple in my calm heart. I held my books and continued walking forward. Gu Jianzhou called my name in a low voice. Jixian, is there something? I looked at him with a calm gaze, just like looking at any passing stranger. I've been looking for you. What do you want from me? You are my fiancé. We have a marriage contract and we're engaged. It was just an engagement. We didn't get the marriage certificate, so it's not legal. Jixian. Gu Jianzhou's white shirt was still spotlessly clean. The way he wore glasses was once my favorite. Now he stands in front of me, looking exactly as I once liked. But what's the point? After you left, I thought a lot. I really didn't act appropriately with Yao Sivan. I just admired some of her academic achievements and had no romantic feelings for her. I've already made it clear to Yao Sivan. She went abroad half a month ago and won't come back in the future. Jixian. I promise that there won't be any similar things happening again. Come back with me. I haven't cancelled the wedding arrangements. As long as you come back, the wedding can be held at any time. Why do you think I'll go back with you? Is it because I used to like you a lot? I looked at him and smiled. Gu Jianzhou, haven't you figured it out yet? From the moment I left, you mean nothing to me anymore. Jixian, I know the previous things made you sad, and I've reflected on them. Nothing happened between me and Yao Sivan, I can swear. Is that important? Gu Jianzhou, I don't care about you and Yao Sivan at all, because I don't like you anymore. This can't be true. We grew up together. Jixian, you've liked me for so many years. Just because I've liked you for so many years doesn't stop you from having already applied for the foreign aid construction project abroad and planning to leave directly on the wedding day, does it? Gu Jianzhou's expression changed drastically. How do you know? I also know that you went with Yao Sivan. If nothing unexpected happens, you will start a new family in a foreign country, and I, who was left in the country by you, would have been kept in the dark all the time, fulfilling my filial duties for you, taking care of your family, emptying my family's savings, being squeezed dry of my value, and then being driven out of the house. Is that right, Gu Jianzhou? His face turned pale, and he looked at me in horror as if he were looking at a ghost, but I didn't let him off. I took a step forward slowly. If I'm not wrong, is your mother seriously ill? Gu Jianzhou suddenly took a step back. How do you know? Calculating the time, Gu Jianzhou's mother should have just been diagnosed with a serious illness. She was very concerned about Face and kept it from her relatives and friends, so the news didn't spread. So, Gu Jianzhou, did you come to find me and ask me to go back because you really know you were wrong and want to make up for me? Or is it just to let me go back and be a servant to take care of your mother, and by the way, take out the inheritance I received to subsidize the bottomless pit of your family? How can you think of our Gu family like this? Gu Jianzhou's face turned pale and green. After all, she raised you for more than 10 years, even if she has no merits, she has hard work, right, Shinji Xin? The money that the Gu family has taken over the years is enough to repay this kindness of raising. Gu Jianzhou, don't come to find me again. I have no relationship with the Gu family anymore, and I have nothing to do with you either. After saying that, I walked past him towards the school gate, but Gu Jianzhou still didn't give up and pestered me again. Xian, calm down and think it over. Can you really let go of our feelings of so many years just like that? Yes, I let go of it a long time ago. Gu Jianzhou, you should let go of it as soon as possible too. Instead of pestering me here, it's better to find a way to earn more money. After all, there will be a lot of places where your family needs to spend money in the future. Xian, do you really have to be so heartless? I found it a bit ridiculous, Gu Jianzhou, when your whole family conspired against me. Why didn't you show the slightest bit of compassion? But Xian, we didn't actually harm you. All of this is just your own speculation. So what? Even if it's just speculation, I'm just nipping this possibility in the bud. Isn't that okay, Xian? After all, we know each other well. Can you guarantee that if you marry someone else in the future, they won't scheme against you? I laughed bitterly. Do I only have the option of getting married? 15? Gu Jianzhou stayed in this city for a week. Later, I called the police, and then he left dejectedly. It seemed that he knew I was determined not to turn back. After he left, he didn't pester me anymore. When I successfully passed the postgraduate entrance examination, my classmates from my hometown privately contacted me. They said that the Gu family's reputation was now in tatters, and they were almost unable to get by. Gradually, more and more people who knew the truth began to reveal that their family was ungrateful, heartless, and had bullied the only daughter of their benefactor. So, Mrs. Gu got her comeuppance and was bedridden. Gu Jinchuan was idle outside, caused a lot of trouble, and was in prison for a few months. And Gu Jinxiu didn't get into university and had a gangster boyfriend, because she didn't want to take care of her mother. She simply moved to her boyfriend's house. The entire Gu family could only be supported by Gu Jianzhou alone. The huge medical expenses, plus the liquidated damages for the villa that Mrs. Gu had reserved before, emptied Gu Jianzhou's personal savings. He's really in a bad situation now. His former classmates and friends don't associate with him anymore. After hearing this, I just laughed it off. Without me, the big blood bag for their family to suck on. Their current life is really difficult, but what does all this have to do with me? I have a house, a car, and a substantial savings, and I can continue to enjoy my carefree student days. Maybe I will meet someone I like in the future, maybe not. It's also good to live alone. The filthy quagmire of the Gu family can no longer disgust me in the slightest. Later, I heard that Gu Jianzhou left the Gu family behind and got back together with Yao Siban. He even settled down in Shanghai with Yao Siban. Yao Siban gave birth to a son for him, and their life seemed to be going quite well. But after a few years, Gu Jianzhou slunk back from Shanghai alone. By then, the Gu family had sold everything they could sell. There was only a shabby rented house left. Mrs. Gu didn't receive treatment and careful care and died last year. Gu Jinchuan went to Myanmar to engage in telecom fraud, and his life and death are unknown. Gu Jinxiu got married early and had 3 children. She was beaten by her husband from time to time. Gu Jianzhou lived alone in the shabby rented house and drank heavily every day. The son born to Yao Siban wasn't his. Back then, she was with him just to find a cheap father for her child. I was reborn. As soon as Yao Siban got back together with her child's biological father, she dumped Gu Jianzhou. When I went back to my hometown to offer sacrifices for my parents' anniversary, I saw him once. Although he was only in his early 30s, most of his hair had turned white. He reeked of alcohol and sat on the street in a daze. Passers-by looked at him with disgust on their faces, who could tell that he was the once glorious Gu Jianzhou. I'm not overly compassionate and don't feel sorry for him. However, I still feel a bit sad. In fact, when we were all children, Gu Jianzhou was very good to me, but later, we all grew up, and we all changed. When I walked past him, he seemed to recognize me and stood up excitedly, but then he suddenly turned around and covered his face tightly. I just pretended not to see him or recognize him and kept walking forward without stopping. Another spring has come, another year with flowers like brocade. I won't look back, and I won't forgive. I will just keep walking forever and ever in the spring that belongs to Shinji Shin.